Boom. We are here. Let that bitch breathe. New intro music. New intro music because of copyright claims. Copyright claims. Copyright claims. Hey, this shit is fire. We are here. That is Jericho Black, and K sounds familiar, bro. It went full circle. And our first engineers and producers of the podcast are now continuing to play the intro music for the podcast. So we are here. We will miss the Dutch Guts track. That shit got me going. That shit really got me keyed up. It was tight to have my friend's music, someone I grew up with, as the intro music, and it's kind of become synonymous to the podcast, at least for me. It just really identified the podcast for me, but copyright issues on the sample. So we couldn't sort those out. I attempted to sort those out, and instead of going down any challenging path, I just said, you know what? It's time to move on. We're going to go on recess in the next couple weeks. We have like a month, and then we're going to go to a recess where we're out of the studio. We're going to have some new updates in the new studio space. So, might as well go into new music and start a new phase of our development. Some housekeeping. If you're listening to the podcast, rate, subscribe, share this bitch. Share it. We want people to hear it. And we want to connect with everybody. And we're going to talk about that today. So that's rate, share, subscribe, comment, do all that stuff, say all the nice things about us. And then if you're listening and you want to watch, go to the YouTube channel, Big Mood TV. You'll see Hearts Over Everything over there. And then some of the interviews will go into the culture, for the culture section. And then we have Barrio Corner on there, and the most recent Barrio Corner episodes. So we're going to have new stuff going up there in the next couple weeks. So we're out here creating. We have content on content. We're continuing to create more. Shout out to the Michael Flicks podcast that dropped last week. It was very well received. Michael Flicks is dope. Shout out to all the Black brands that I fuck with and that fuck with me. Crowned with Excellence. They're killing the game. They have their like launch party coming up in the next couple weeks. I'll stop by there. Shout out to Snoop Proof bags. Keep me fresh with the book bags and the accessories. He's got some new stuff dropping, so look up Snoop Proof on IG, and you will find him and all of what he has dropping. Shout out to Third Eye Collection. They're doing the podcast in a few weeks. We had to move them a little bit because we have a special episode dropping on Friday. I'm doing something very crazy and very vulnerable on the podcast. And I figure, let me give it a little preface so I give you guys a little hint of what's happening. I talk on here about being the trauma I've inflicted, and I say it on here reluctantly, and it's hard for me to say, but I'm simply a different person, and I speak from a perspective of someone who's truly changed in a lot of ways and is a different person. And I think I did a PSA for domestic violence for men, and I wanted to, before that PSA came out, I wanted to do my own kind of PSA and my own, clearing of the air in regards to the things that I did and the person that I was. And I'm going to do that on a microphone because, I'm going to speak out. And I want to be an advocate now. I don't want to mush that piece of me down entirely. I want to have experienced things, and I want to use those things to move forward and make the world better, uniquely qualified to help others. And I'm not the only one who's been a piece of shit. Not the only one. I think I'm the worst, but I'm not the worst. That's pride in reverse. We did a whole podcast on that. Either I'm the best shit ever or I'm the worst shit ever. It's never a balance. So that's the housekeeping. But that podcast episode drops on Friday, so I'm super stoked for that. That's with Corey George. He's a trauma specialist. Works with Black men. So we will, dig up and unearth some things, as I preached the other day about digging up and unearthing. You're going to see me do the work, and I walk the walk and talk the talk, sir. So, yes, I voted. I fucking voted. And if you're not registered to vote, there's still time. And if you don't want to vote in person on election day, vote early. Vote early. And there's benefits. I usually am an election day voter. I like, whether it's midterms or major elections, I like to vote in person because I like to go in the ballot box and, fill out my ballot and like do the whole experience. But with COVID, there may be there may be few polling places, there may be this, there may be that. And also, a big thing that's awesome about early voting is that you get to have your ballot in front of you and your computer in front of you and Google each candidate and Google each proposition and say, what do I think? How do I feel about this? And you get to make really objective decision. You make a good decision as you can with two options. But you get to make a good decision, and there's great opportunity in that to go deeper on your vote and to really vote be informed. You could be an informed voter. You don't have to just, because how many times you've gone to a ballot box and been like, fuck, I know who the president and vice president is, and I know who my senators maybe, but then who's the rest of these other motherfuckers? But what I was able to do this year was go, who's city attorney? Who's school board? Who's this? Who's my district council member? Because my district council member, he left, he moved on, and now we have two other guys coming. So in my area, I'm fortunate. I live in a very, liberal part of town. With the downtown area, the North Park, South Park, Golden Hill, Hillcrest, like the very progressive parts of the city. I live in those areas. So I'm able to, reap the benefits of that. We need the whole city intact. Speaking of that, I want to talk about San Diego politics. What's awesome about San Diego politics and what I think makes San Diego so great is that we are kind of a bipartisan city. There is a lot of liberal energy here, a lot of young liberal energy here, a lot of it. But there's also a lot of conservatism, fiscal conservatism. There's a little bit of religious Christian conservatism. And then there's a lot of military conservatism, which I don't know if these are all different. Those are all different factions of conservatism, which they're allowed to be. And I think what makes the city great is that I feel it's balanced. I feel San Diego is a very, very, very balanced city. And I want it to stay that way. I don't want it to be a completely liberal-run city. We look at all the completely liberal-run cities. We look at LA, we look at San Francisco, we look at Chicago, we look at New York, and those are great cities, by the way. But there are some problems, I think, that come. There's always going to be problems that come from imbalances, I think. And this goes into the next topic, the political topic. I'm going to be quick on this, but there's room for disagreement. I should not agree with everybody. Everybody should not agree with me. If you listen to this podcast, I say plenty of shit you probably don't agree with. I listen to podcasts and I hear plenty of shit I don't agree with. Joe Rogan has people on episodes where I'm like, fuck, I don't agree with any of this, but I still listen because it's good for you. It's good to get to know people who don't think like you. My in-laws, like I've said a million times, they're super conservative. It's cool to be friends with people who are different from different political factions and have different value systems. That's what it means to be cultured. You don't want to create an echo chamber. You don't want to create a container where everybody thinks like you. You want to be around people who disagree with you. And there's room for disagreement. There's room for disagreement. And I think that's what makes San Diego dope, is that there's two parties and all the variations of the parties of those two parties working together to make a city better. The way liberals deal with the homelessness problem is not the right way. I know we're not doing it the right way. I know we're not doing it the right way because our homelessness problem is so not drastic, but so it's fucked up. Our homeless problem is serious. We have a serious homeless problem, and to be the highest tax state in the country, we should have no homeless people. But the wealth gap in California, and that's why people are leaving, is because you're getting raped in taxes as a business, and as individuals getting raped in taxes, but yet you have homeless people building camps in neighborhoods. We're nothing like LA in regards to our homeless. LA is just a much bigger city, but we have a homeless and a mental health and a drug addiction problem here. It's not homelessness, by the way. I think most homeless people are mentally ill or on drugs or both. So we have a public health issue that we have to take very seriously. Because if I wasn't sober, I'd be homeless too. Nobody's bailing me out. I'd be homeless. If I was shooting dope, fuck. I'd be homeless doing all the homeless shit, shitting in the street, fucking spray shitting my pants. Talking to myself. I talk to myself now. Look, I'm talking to myself as we speak. Imagine me fucking homeless and on dope and fucking meth, fucking all big. I'd probably get shot by the cops being crazy. But either way, there's room for disagreement. And I think it's good that I don't agree with everybody. I think it's good that everybody doesn't agree with me. I think the goal should be finding common ground, and the goal should be representing more people. So when I voted, I said I voted for the people who I want to represent me, and I hope there's people who are voting for who represents them. So the only problem is, no, not the only problem, but a huge problem is the two-party system. Either these people are going to be represented or not. And we all have to compromise. But you don't have to agree all the time. But I will say, when it comes to the presidential election, I haven't talked about this very much individually. Benny and Jesse and I will probably get on here and do a Fuck Trump podcast in the next couple of weeks, but before the break. But what makes the Donald Trump presidency so detrimental is that, think of it like in a household. If the dad is an alcoholic and comes in the house and no one knows what kind of dad you're going to get, and no one knows if dad's going to go to work, and no one knows if dad's going to insult mom and insult the kids or beat the kids. No one knows what the dad is going to fucking do. That household will be chaotic. And many of us know that household. Right? Many of us have grown up in those households. Not myself particularly, but I'm not going to make it seem like my household was all fucked up. But it was fucked up in its own ways. But that's one analogy. If the dad is fucking crazy, the whole house is crazy. So that's one example. A CEO of a company, like Tim Dillon said, if the CEO of the company is telling half the people that work at the office that they're gonna fucking die, because Donald Trump said, New York City is run to the ground, whatever he said. New York City is done. Vote Trump. Illinois has nowhere to go. Vote Trump. Los Angeles, I think he said Los Angeles. Los Angeles is in the dumps. Vote Trump. These are all paraphrasing. I don't know what he said specifically, but that is not what a good leader does. The world is on fire. If you don't want it to be on fire, vote for me. And hey, motherfucker, this shit's set on fire with you being president. And Obama's presidency his policies were not the best. In retrospect, I was young when Obama was much younger and immature when Obama was president, and I enjoyed Obama just because he was Obama. But now looking back at his policy, there was a lot of destruction there, a lot of negative things. But one thing that Obama was he was a statesman. He was a measured speaker and a measured leader. When there was a conflict and when people attacked him, he always addressed it with poise and logic and connectedness. Always. That's what a leader does. A leader says, how do we solve problems together? Always lean it back to togetherness. Always lean it back to togetherness. Always lean it back to togetherness. And Donald Trump is just a piss poor leader. And you say, but this and but that about what he's done. What he's done is what his influence is far worse than the accomplishments he has. Oh, but our company made more money this year than it's ever made. But everybody who works here is anxious. You know, like and honestly, we have turned into a place where other Americans are our enemy. Other Americans, it's those libs, it's the alt-right, it's the conservatives, the Proud Boys, it's the Antifa. These are your neighbors, you fucks. These are your neighbors. These are my in-laws. They're not Proud Boys or da-da-da-da. But like, these are my neighbors. But this is the influence that Donald Trump has. And I don't want the chaos anymore. I don't want the fucking chaos anymore. So Joe Biden, do I agree with Joe Biden? Do I like Joe Biden? Is that the person who I wanted? No. I would have liked Mitt Romney. He didn't run, but I would have gladly voted for Mitt Romney over Hillary Clinton. Gladly. It's not Tulsi Gabbard. I would have been stoked and fired up if she even made it any further. If it was Bernie, I'd be stoked and fired up. Even Elizabeth Warren, I'd be fired up. But we got sleepy Joe Biden. We got tired Joe Biden. We got elderly old Joe Biden. And Kamala Harris, who I do like. And when people say, what if she's locked people up? Yeah, she locked a lot of people up. But have you ever met someone who works in legislation, a judge or an attorney, or someone who has to prosecute criminals? They're making decisions that suck. They are making decisions that suck. Do I think Kamala Harris maliciously sent black people to jail because she hates black people? No. But she has constituents. She has agendas. She has people who this is bureaucracy, dude. And I'm not making excuses for her because I wish she did. I wish she would have done better. But she's measured. She's articulate. I feel like she can lead. So if Joe Biden dies and Kamala Harris is president, do I think that is a positive thing? Yes. I think that is an improvement. Well, leaps and bounds above what we have right now. Even Joe Biden is a leap and a bound above we had now. Not leaps and bounds, but a leap and I think it's an improvement. And do you know what I want? I want homeostasis. I want homeostasis. And I want generally liberal, generally progressive, not liberal, generally progressive policy. And when I say progressive, I just, in the literal sense, I want it to move forward. Social equity, financial, breaking the financial gap, making more economic freedom for people. Move forward, more black rights, more gay rights, more LGBT rights. Sorry, I said LGBT and gay at the same time, like there's different things. But more women's rights. I want more. Move forward. Right now in time as a black man, this is the best time to be a black man ever in the existence of black men under the American flag. Not talking about the black natives that were here prior to our invasion. because there were Black natives here. But I just need homeostasis. I need homeostasis, and I'm voting for homeostasis. And then, hopefully, if we're smart, we will continue to vote in the midterm elections, and we will continue this momentum. I know I'm going to vote in the midterm elections. I know I'm going to. We all got to participate, and we got to hold our local electives accountable. Okay, so that's enough politics. But I voted today. I'm very proud. Go vote. Go early vote. Take the time to read who's on the ballot, and then take your time and go drive and go vote. Social distance, wear a mask, blah, blah, blah. It took me not even 2 minutes. It took me 1 minute after I filled out the ballot, it took me 1 minute to put it in there and put my sticker on. And I'm done. I participated in my democracy that my grandmother did not get to participate in, and her great-grandmother didn't even have a thought to participate, didn't even have the opportunity to participate in, and people were beaten and died and hung for this right, and I'm gonna soak in that right. Yeah, bitch, I get to vote, son, and I get to say that on this microphone, so what's good? Thank you for all the ancestors. So go vote. But let's get into the meat and potatoes of the podcast. So someone called me. I was on a call, and we're going to talk about this abundance group that I'm on. But someone on the call said that they get the vibe of this, like, quote unquote, and it's corny, this quote unquote lone wolf persona that I portray. You know, I often say I make myself very hateable. Even doing a podcast, I say things that I want, and I say things that may be divisive. They're not divisive in intention, but they may divide a little bit. They may be things people don't agree with. I'm highly ambitious. I'm loud. I'm a lot of things. And I push people away. I'm very sarcastic. I have some ego. I have a lot of ego. I'm self-righteous sometimes. I get up here on this soapbox and I preach and tell people what to do. You know, and it pushed people away and play this lone wolf and play the bad guy. So I always say, like, damn, that fool doesn't like me. And people say, why doesn't he like you? I say, I make myself very hateable. It's not like I'm the most warm person, you know, to like, man, everybody loves Eric. I'm not, I'm not that dude. I've never been that dude. I'm an acquired taste. That's only enjoyable in doses as well. Thank God I only do this podcast twice a week, so people get me in doses. But, you know, I like the idea of being the lone wolf. You know, I enjoy it, honestly. Because, and, you know, I get to play a victim in the lone wolf. Nobody likes me. I got haters. I get to play the victim, and I like that sometimes. You know, I've played that most of my life. Honestly, that's a character defect that I still get to soak in. You know, people are threatened by me. No one's threatened by you, fool. Shut the fuck up. You're just some fucking guy. But I like the idea of being the lone wolf. You know, I like for big reason I work on my own is because I like working on my own. I don't like that. Even personal training people, which I'm personal training one woman who I'm very excited to work with. Shout out to her, because I don't personal train clients anymore, but this woman is very special and I'm taking her on, so I'm stoked. But I don't even like working with people particularly, and I don't like working with people for a long period of time, 3 months at a time, 6 months at a time. You know, because I think I'm a lot. And it's okay to be a lot. It's okay if people say that about you, like you're a lot. It's okay to be a lot. Is that my camera? Hi. Hey. It's okay to be a lot. But I like that lone wolf thing. I get to play the victim there. Because I've always felt alone. You know, when I tell my story, I always say how, like, for me growing up, I just felt absolutely different than my family. And I know I was, because my sister is very even and probably was a very even baby. My brother is very even measured baby. That's what I hear and that's what I perceive. And I was busy, as they say, and which I know what busy means now because my son is very busy. So I'd already felt out of place in my household. No doing of my parents. My parents still show me lots of love. And I was not alone. I had every opportunity in my life, and a loving family. But I made myself alone, and I chose my friends, over. Oh, and another thing that played into that being alone in my elementary school, I was one of like 5 Black kids in the entire school. So I was already had this racial difference that I was like, oh, one thing in here is not the same, and that thing is me. And that played on this already discomfort, this already uncomfortable disposition that I had. And then by the time I got to junior high school, I've always talked this way. This way, speaking to you may not be weird, but growing up, people made fun of me for the way that I speak so bad. So bad, so bad. So I felt alone. And then drugs continued to isolate me even further. And then, living in California, I had all of the things that push people away, the sarcasm, the ego, the self-righteousness, a lot of the ego. A lot of guys didn't like me because the girls would show me attention. Guys are like, fuck that dude. Because who does he think he is? And I'm sarcastic, and I make shitty jokes, and I'm just have a dry, dark sense of humor. And that's a defense mechanism that pushes people away, allows people to, makes it so people can't get too close. And then I'm self-righteous, which I do in this podcast. And I say, do your fucking work, heal, right? Like, who the fuck are you, bro? Who the fuck are you? It's just motivation. But like, I'm self-righteous. And even when I speak at meetings, I come from a place of having something potentially figured out. But I've only figured out that I don't know. And I've only figured out that, 12-step gives me life, and I can share on the life that's given me. So it comes off self-righteous, but it's really because I'm just stoked on life. And I hope it doesn't come off preachy, but it probably does. So I push people away. But this podcast is a real reflection of what my real intention is. I want to connect with you. When we start streaming, I want to talk to you as we podcast, I want to read comments. I want to answer emails. I want to connect with you. Social media. If you see the post I write, Eric_Big Mood Coach, if you see the post I write, the posts are very vulnerable and long and honest because I want to connect with you. I want you to read that and say, I felt that too. If he can do it, I can do it. I'm like him. He's like me. I want to connect with you, but I have this lone wolf mentality where I can play the victim. Nobody likes me. And it's simply not true. It's simply not true. I wouldn't podcast if I didn't want to connect, I wouldn't go to 12-step if I didn't want to connect. And that's honestly the one thing I love about 12-step is that when I go there, I feel like, fuck. Even though I don't look the same because there's a lot of white people, I feel the same. And I hear my story told over and over and over again. And that means I'm human. You're a human, dude. You're not an alien. So much of my life, I feel like, oh my God, people are looking at me. I'm an alien. I'm a weirdo. Which I'm pretty weird. I think I'm pretty fucking weird. But excuse me, breathing on the mic. That's real professional. Maybe they'll edit that out. But this lone wolf thing is a trauma response from my childhood, I'll tell you a little bit about the sexual trauma. There was this guy, Ryan. Shout out to all the people who were molested. No, but this guy, Ryan, I was about 6. And he would sit me on his lap and whisper like crazy shit into my ear. And then other things. And, as I got older, he would show me porn, and he would tell me how to masturbate. And like, it was crazy. I didn't really think of it until I was 25, right? Like, I just thought of that. Like, I kind of knew, I was like, yeah, Ryan was a weirdo. He was my friend. I thought he was like an older guy that was my friend. But he was older than my brother. And my brother's 5 years older than me. So, and when I was 6 or 7 or 8, he was 20. So anyway, I think that led to that feeling of aloneness, that of loneliness. That led to the feeling like what he was telling me in my ear already made me feel different. What he was whispering to me made me feel, I was like, fuck, is this the case? I'll tell you what he said. He would be like, Eric, you don't know this yet, but you're gay. And I'm going to do. Never like dudes. Way to tell a kid something that's not even true. Fucking asshole. But anyway, he would, and that by just that simple phrase made me feel like just so isolated. And then being and then in school being the only black kid, and then the mental illness further isolated me and made me feel alone. But I want to connect with you. And all the things that I just mentioned, sexual trauma, you experienced it. I know many of you have. Racism or prejudice because of your race, a lot of you felt that. Sexism, maybe because of your sex or your sexual orientation, a lot of you have felt that. Sexual abuse, mental illness, depression, making you feel isolated. That is one of the huge telltale signs of depression is isolation, So these are all things. I tell you these things because I want to connect with you. And I've learned to, my friend would talk about tools. Like she learned these tools in life. And some of them she has a hatchet and she has a hammer. She has a saw. But then she has spiritual tools, like healthy tools, like communication, intimacy, spirituality, meditation, fellowship. She has all these spiritual tools. And for me, that lone wolf is is a hatchet or a saw that cuts between you and I. That lone wolf thing keeps me safe. If you can't get too close to me, you can't judge me, you can't leave me, you can't hurt me. And also, that's another thing, because of my mental illness, I lost a lot of friends, not only to death, but people just couldn't stay friends with me. I couldn't maintain friendships because I was so crazy and I was so mentally disturbed that I couldn't maintain friendships. I felt so alone. And then I always say, using drugs made me feel like, oh, it evens the playing field. We're all sniffing coke. Look, there's 5 of us here. We got coke on the table. We're sniffing coke together. Oh, we could do an ecstasy. We're going to the club. We're all doing ecstasy together. Connectedness. Oh, we're all going camping and do mushrooms. Connectedness. Even shooting dope with people. Oh, you want to go get some dope? And I'm going to chill with homeboy and shoot dope in the house, and talk and nod out and talk and nod out. Go for blunt rides. You want to ride, you want to take a ride? We go ride around New York City and smoke blunts. Connectedness, drugs brought that. And it's interesting, the same part of that, drugs brought me together with people, and then sobriety brought me together with people. It's very interesting. I'll probably mention that tonight if I speak. But yeah, that lone wolf thing is a defense mechanism, and it's a tool that I don't want to use anymore. It's a story that I don't want to tell anymore. And I want to let you know that you are not alone, sir, woman, him, her, they, them. You are not alone. You are not alone in your sexual trauma. You are not alone in your race, or your ethnic proximity, whether it be proximity or whatever. You're not alone in your depression. You are not alone in your struggle or your suffering. You are not alone. So, moving on. I'm in this abundance group, right? And it's like a accountability group. And we meet on a call every day, and we share honestly. I'm such a soft ass bitch. How we doing on time? Such a soft ass bitch. Beautiful. But yeah, we get together and we share honestly about ourselves, and our lives, and it's an abundance group. So it talks about, that's obviously, for me at least, that's the umbrella, And when I joined the group, I was like, I want to be financially abundant, because I've had this poor person's mentality, this dope fiend, drug addict mentality. It's like, I need to wear my money, or I need to just spend it on stuff because I don't know if I'm going to get it again. You know what I mean? Or I'm going to get it right back. So let me spend it and then get it right back. There's just a very unhealthy relationship to money that doesn't work when you're 30. Some people do it well. By the way, 0 credit card debt, 0 personal credit card debt. Settle. Took me years to get out of that. Your boy got good credit. That's a big accomplishment. no student loans. Only thing that I have a loan for is my car. And a car I feel like I'll always have a car payment in some form, whether I'm leasing or buying, like unless I buy a car cash, which that's another accomplishment. Maybe I'll get there. But for me, it was about financial abundance to join the group. It's like, hey, I'm making a lot of money right now, and I want to continue to make a lot of money, and I want to continue to be able to steward that money. If you can't steward $30, you can't steward $30,000. Someone told me that, pastor friend. Shout out to Joseph Aranza with the bars. He probably heard of somebody else, but shout out to him. They're having a baby. Congratulations, Joe. They're doing any week now. But I want to be able to steward the money that I have. So I wanted to be in a group that was going to nurture that, an accountability group that was going to nurture that. But then it got me to thinking about abundance. And we correlate abundance to finance. We do, like, or to abundance of food, or an abundance of like tangible resources, abundance of resources. But what about an abundance of connectedness? This podcast, friendship, fellowship, companionship, joy, peace. And that's where I'm at now. And I'm gonna be leading this group eventually. And each day I lead, I'm gonna talk about this abundance of connectedness. One thing that I did lead the group, and one thing I wanted to talk about and have encouraged the group to do is connect with people who you haven't been connecting with. Take the time to connect with people you haven't connected with. So the people listening, I want to encourage you, give you the same exercise that I gave the group. Make a video, a face video, hold the camera up and make a video to someone who you aren't showing enough love to. And ask yourself, why am I not showing this person enough love? What's stopping me? What's blocking me from showing this person the love that I want to show them? And make the video. Even though it's hard to make a video, just tell them you love them, appreciate them, give them affirmations, and just love on them. So I want to encourage you guys to do that. I made 3 videos with people. My grandma, I love my grandma. I'm 3,000 miles away, but I love my grandma. My sister, who had to watch me in my addiction. Actually, I made 4 videos. My mom, and my siblings, and the rest of my siblings. I made videos too. Just let them know I love them. So let them know I love them and think about them, and I'm proud of them. Proud of my family. I'm very lucky to have I'm very proud of my family. Some people are like, meh, like, have lots of weird feelings with their family. I am very proud of my family of origin. I believe that my parents worked very hard and educated themselves and made, my mom would say, she said, I love how entitled my children are to this world. You know how white people feel like the world is theirs? I feel like the world is mine too. My parents taught me this world is mine, bitch. You take it. You make what you want of it. My parents taught me that, and I feel like I do that. I feel like I create what I want. I do what I want. I say what I want. I make this world mine, So I'm thankful for my family. So I want an abundance of connectedness, an abundance of joy. Depression for me is part of my life, and it'll always be part of my life, I think, knock on wood. Maybe it's not. Maybe the shoe won't drop. But as patterns go, maybe the shoe will drop. And but I want an abundance of joy, and that means creating moments. I love having dinner with my in-laws. I love going to my in-laws' house and spending time with them. I love talking to my mom. I love doing this podcast. This podcast brings me joy. That's why I do it. I don't do this podcast like, yes, there's monetary success monetary freedom that comes from podcasting. So like that is cool that like you can get paid shit tons of money to do a podcast. But I do this podcast because I cannot wait on Monday mornings to record this shit. I am so stoked to do this. Just connect with you, speak things out, work through problems. I love podcasting. It brings me joy. So I want abundance of that. I want to do other things that bring me joy. My boy Dylan is moving out here. He'll be on the podcast when he comes out here, and we'll do an episode. Maybe have him give him his own segment, some philosophy shit, because he's super philosophical dude. But when he comes out here, I wanna do things that bring me joy when I'm with him here, even though I'm only here half the time. I want to do things that bring joy. I want to take jiu-jitsu. I want to, like working out brings me joy. We just bought, squat rack, a squat rack with a bench. So we could do bench, deads, and squats. That brings me joy. I like that. And I can now do it in my backyard, and it's fucking getting super nice out in the desert. And like that brings me joy, and I want to have an abundance of joy, an abundance of companionship. I want love in my household, with my partner, with my friends, companionship, not just friendship, but companionship. We are buddies. We are journeying through life together. My arms wrapped around yours, and we're journeying through life together. I want an abundance of companionship. Then financial abundance, of course. I want to get rid of that poor person mentality, that scarcity mentality. I do feel like podcasting, everybody start one. Go. Coaching, everybody be a coach. Go. The only time I'm critical is when people bastardize the industries. Coaching, don't bastardize the industry. Don't be just another one and not, go above and beyond. That I don't like. I don't like the bastardization. Like, don't podcast because, and I don't know, podcast if you want to, express yourself however you want to. Just don't bastardize the industry. I don't know what that looks like for podcasting, but it's the internet. Fuck it, I don't care. But that's my judgment. But I want abundance of finance. I want financial freedom. I want to get rid of that scarcity mentality. There's 8 billion people on the planet, and there's trillions there's uncountable amounts of money in the world. And I have access to all of it because of the internet. And I want to stay with that mindset that the world is abundant to me financially. And then an abundance of peace. Peace. That's a hard one. That's not hard. It's not hard for me right now because I feel a lot of peace, and I know what makes me feel peace. For me, first of all, flirting is bad. I flirt too much. Even though I don't cheat, I flirt too much. Got to cut that out. It's not a good thing. But in my time of sexual promiscuity, I was trying to find peace in people, trying to find peace in women, right? Like, she's my, you hear people say that she's my peace or he's my peace. I was trying to find peace like in people. And then like in the gym, I have friends who still do it like, this is where my mind quiets down. But that's finding peace in the world, in like worldly things. I find peace when I'm financially secure, I'll feel peace. Peace, finding peace in all these worldly things. But what changed the game for me is finding peace in my own mind, which is it's so annoying, but I hate to tell you this shit is true. And I'm going to link Sam Harris's Waking Up app in the description, because that is what's changed the game for me. Meditation, 8,400 minutes of meditation in the last 377 days. Meditate. And I found peace. I found peace in my own mind, and especially when I was depressed, and especially being bipolar. My mind was trying to kill me. It would whisper, "Kill yourself. No one wants you here. No one loves you. Everybody would be better off without you." That's what my mind is, and it's like my mind's trying to kill me. So then what I did instead was flip this bitch inside. I said, I'm going to sit in my mind. I'm going to observe. I'm going to have dinner with my mind and say, hey guys, we don't have to run the show. We don't have to run the show, man. Let's just all be cool. Let's all get along. It'll be okay. Nurture, be kind to myself and soothe myself. Because I used to use other things. The gyms would soothe me. All this built up energy would need to go to the gym, and it would soothe me. Stop working though. Stop soothing me. Then I started, being promiscuous at the gym. Women would soothe me. That post nut, the clarity, would soothe me. and that stopped working. So I went and had lunch in my mind and started observing my consciousness, spending time in my consciousness, and sorted out a lot of my life's problems without having to manage people, places, and things like chess pieces. Stopped having to manage. If only I could manage, life would work out. Nope. Every time I insert Eric's dick in anything, it fucks up. So let me stop trying to manage. Let me just observe myself, be with myself, be with my thoughts. And that's where I found some peace. And the last thing I wrote is why I'm content today. Why am I content? Because I have everything I need, generally get the things that I want, I have all the promises of life. I have them. Of course, it'd be nice to make more money. There's always be nice to make more money, right? There's always this chase to make more money. That's always, of course, but I have a family, I have a partner, I have friends, I have purpose with my business and with my podcast and my work, my work. I have, my family is still alive and together. I have everything that I could want. It just takes the time. It just took the time to look at it. What are we doing on time? Took the time to really look at it and appreciate it. Perfect. And then that's with gratitude. That's with gratitude. And I'll finish with this. How do I stay excited about life? And it ties right in. It's gratitude. If you're feeling dull in life, if you're feeling dull, think about all the times it could have went bad. Think about all the times you stepped on the brake and it could have been that accident. Think about when your mom got sick and she survived. Think about when you thought your marriage was over and you made it out of the other side. Think about when you got divorced and you thought, I'm going to be in this shitty ass marriage forever. And you get divorced and you're like, fuck, I have a new boyfriend or a new girlfriend. I'm free. Think about when your son or your child is sick and gets better. Think about that drug addiction, how bad it was. Think about the depression, how bad it was. Be grateful. It keeps you excited about life. I'm like a golden retriever shaking my goddamn tail around town because I'm stoked to be here, dude. I'm stoked to be here. Just to be able to get on here and do this. I'm stoked to do this. I wake up on Mondays with a rock hard dick, ready to go. Woo! We're going to have to tone that down. Ready to fucking go. Every Monday. Already meditated today. Get on a microphone, shoot some content, get to work, close the client. I'm ready to go. It's only 9:41, baby. It's fucking Monday, dog. But I'm excited because you know what I used to do? I used to not even wake up. I used to come to out of a nod or a faux sleep, which after a while of nodding out instead of sleeping, you start to see shadow people. So I was seeing people throughout the day and I would come to and I would roll over and I would go in this little pouch and pull out my dope and stick it in my arm. And that's how I'd have to get going. If I didn't have dope, then I was sick. Then I was going to be sick for the remaining however long until money appeared or I stole it or robbed it or something. So when I get up on Mondays with this rock hard dick, jump in the shower, put on my fucking fresh Timbos, because it's Tim's all year, black, brown, and gravy. Shout out to Chris Vent. Shout out to Dylan. He knows what that's talking about. Shout out to Bobby. Shout out to I earned these Tims, bro. This is not just a fashion statement. I've stomped hella people out in some Tims. I've earned my Tims. No more stomping people out anymore. We just levitating on bitches now. We're floating, bitch. But yeah, I'm stoked to be alive. Just happy to be here. When my girlfriend gets naked, I'm just happy the girl wants to get naked in front of me. It's like, yeah, cool. She wants to have sex with me. It's awesome. Just happy to be here. Just happy to be invited. I'm just happy to be invited. So if you're having a hard time staying excited about life, think of you just be grateful. Be grateful. Be grateful for all the things in the world. So I'll finish with a few things. You can start playing me out. I'll finish with a few things. Vote early so you can take the time to look at the ballot. Your neighbor is not your enemy. Other Americans are not your fucking enemy. They're not your fucking enemy. Don't be a lone wolf. Do life in fellowship. Do life in community. Stop pushing people away. Abundance is more than financial abundance. Abundance is an abundance of joy, connectedness, companionship, peace. And I had one last thing written down, and we can finish up here. Chase joy. Chase joy. Chase joy. Shout out to this Jericho beat, Paid in Full, baby. Jericho Black. And we'll let this bitch play out. Hey, this shit goes hard. Chase that joy, son. And soak in it when you're in joy. We out. Shit goes hard.